So we researched into masks, and we found that, well, we discussed that masks are used to portray an image upon a person that usually the person wouldn't have. They also can be used to impersonate an animal or mythical creature, or like in this show, which we're going to talk about.
Yeah, in the Deadlies, which we've got here, it was a show that March to May 2014 ran, so it's not an old one, but it was like a creepy family, you know, kind of Addams Family style, and they've used masks to completely remove the whole facial expression thing out of the scenario, so it makes it look really creepy and really unnatural, but it's still a horror comedy, so they've actually cut bits out of the bottom of the masks, so you still have the facial, like you can still see the mouth, but you don't see any of the facial expressions behind that, so it almost looks like a zombie or something. That's one very effective use of masks in theatre. We have other ones down the line, like 1981 to 2000, which is it was a horror show about a murderer, and they used the masks in that for flashbacks, and they also used the mask to symbolize the murderer, but it wasn't a human mask. The mask was red and it had small horns at the top, so it was of course imposing a mythical creature. Anyway, moving on to the designs.
You want to start?
Yes,
so we are working together on our design as well.
Yeah, this is a collaborative project where we have decided we're making a two-headed serpent. The base of it, it'll be a 5-meter long puppet. It'll have a long arm body and it'll have a head at each end, both operated by one of us. The way we planned to do that is long fur tubes, and we're going to be doing some 3D bone modelling out of foam. This is my third design, and it's using. I decided to use 6 pieces of foam per face skeleton because previous designs I found the slots hard to carve, but with the middle sections exposed we can really get the blade in there. So we'll be carving 6 3-dimensional shapes per head, and they will be glued together and mounted onto a piece of cardboard to create a fully functioning mechanical mouth.
Yeah. The two-headed serpent is going to be controlled by both of us, one in each head.
Yeah, one in each head.
We're using 2 elements, aren't we, as well?
Yes, we've
so
got
one head's going to be forest and one's going to be ice.
Yeah.
We didn't use fire just because it was aggressive.
It was very aggressive, and we couldn't really find a friendly looking fire dragon to use as inspiration. There's far more ice and forest ones out there.
We're also doing a jumper design, which we're going to be sitting in or wearing,
I guess.
Yeah. Basically, we're going to cut a slit in one of the arms so we can put our arm through it and into the dragon head, but then sew that arm down into the pocket so it looks like we still got
fake arm, and we're going to stuff that section.
Yeah, stuff that fake arm.
So this thing
so the dragon will be across our shoulders.
Yeah, it'll look like it's sitting across both our shoulders, and there'll be a head here and there'll be a head the other side. It'll look great. But we've also got designs for
So for the middle, we are one of the ends is going to be quite open, isn't it? And the other one's going to be tied up so the stuffing doesn't come out.
Yeah, we've got like a...
And then we're kind of going to overlap it.
Yeah, kind of a sleeve to connect the two so that we don't actually have to put it on at the same time. We can still move individually when we need to, but then when it's time to go on stage, we can just dock the dragon middle together and walk on stage.
This is quite good for stage as well because you can, like, if say you're doing something with the dragon, you can kind of see that. It's like,
and if you need a head at both ends of the stage, kind of like poking off stage, you can have that.
Yeah, you can take it apart. We're using buttons to connect it as well.
Yeah. We're gonna sew buttons onto the tubing. The list of what we'll need: large amount of foam, so like big blocks of foam. Lots of both dark green and white fur material, both brown and pale blue spray paint, 4 ping pong balls, preferably black, but we can just paint them. assorted twigs and sticks, which we can pick up from the garden, sewing machine and thread, which I'm guessing we already have, various fake icicles, and maybe some fake snow for the ice end.
What we're using for fake icicles, the candles.
Either
think about using
candles or maybe because you can get fake icicle Christmas decorations.
Yes.
So maybe them. An awful lot of stuffing. We're gonna have to sacrifice a hoodie each.
Yeah, that's fine. Colours of our dragon.
Yeah, preferably dragon colours. And a glue gun and several sticks of glue. Our initial plan is we're going to spend time cutting the foam pieces.
We'll do the foam pieces first.
Yeah, definitely first. We'll make the two heads. That's going to be the hardest bit. And once we've done that, we'll be mounting them onto a creased piece of cardboard to make the jaw mechanic. And then we'll create the headpiece, which will probably just be a curved piece of foam that kind of... So if the mouth is attached to my hands, the curved piece of foam will attach to the top back lip, just as a place for future reference where the icicles and twigs are going to go, like a bit more of a head, really. Yeah. And then the body, we're just going to have to, we'll cut 2 tubes of fur material, each about 2.5 meters long, with 15 inches diameter of the tube. We'll have to sew them all the way down the middle, so we're both going to have to practice our sewing. And then we need to cut a slit for our arms to go into the dragon, 30 inches down from one end on both tubes. And then we need to stuff the tubes, and on one tube we need to sew the buttons, and the other we need to cut buttonholes. And we've got to, of course, tie one tube in a knot and do the inner sewing on the other tube. Yeah. We can then spray paint details on, and we can decorate it with twigs and icicles depending on the body. And that is the body done. Once we've done that, all we have to do is stretch the appropriate coloured fur around the heads, but make sure it's glue gunned down once it's a tight fit. Cut out where the eye sockets are. So we're going to need to maybe melon ball or even just scoop out some eye sockets from the skull of the dragon, make it look seamless, and then you can glue the ping pong ball in, maybe even using some extra felt to make like eyelids. And then we can glue black pieces of cards to the inside of the dragon's mouth to make it, so it doesn't just look furry on the inside of its mouth, so it's got like a actual back to its face. And we can even maybe decorate it with some teeth. Yeah,
some detail like tongue or something.
Yeah, maybe some candles. And decorate the head with its respective theme and sew it onto the front of the body and repeat with the other head, and you have yourself a 2-headed serpent. Okay, moving on to inspirations now.
So we got inspired by the 2-headed serpent from folklore, didn't we?
Definitely Chinese folklore.
And then obviously we thought about modern day wyvern heads as well.
Yeah.
Because they're more relatable.
Yeah, more relatable, more relevant. Kids will know what it is when it comes out. But mechanically, we were inspired by, we saw this video online of a person that made just a dragon where they operated the tail with one arm and the head with the other arm, and the fake set of arms. We were like, hey, let's do that, but let's turn it up to 11. Let's put it on a much bigger scale. Yeah. And we've seen the same thing done with dinosaurs and all sorts. It's a tried and tested formula for wearable puppets, so it should go well. The heads. Our main issue with the heads is how do we get them to look like they're part of the same animal but still very different. I decided on giving them the same bone structure, so mechanically these heads are going to be identical. The only differences will be cosmetic.
That was another reason why we didn't choose fire as well, because they're quite contrasting.
Yeah, definitely.
Fire and ice.
Yeah, fire and ice, we would definitely have to do different bone structures, and it took me long enough to design this bone structure. I do not want to be doing a second one. I chose Forest and Frost because, of course, the colours are quite similar on the spectrum as well. So if we did decide to blend the middle, then it could look seamless. I hope. Bodies, we took massive inspiration from the way Quetzalcoatl's look. Long and furry with his neck coming out of the back of its head. our design varies with the whole 2 heads, so I won't be making a tail on this puppet, and we won't be putting wings on it either because it would get in the way of us operating a puppet with it sitting on the back of our shoulder. Also, I was confused what way wings would face on a 2-headed puppet. Alright, what's the purpose of the puppet? Well, the purpose is to portray a fantastical character. However, it will not be the puppet that speaks. Instead, it will probably be its 2 handlers conversing about the puppet with other puppets on stage or other actors. The puppet will, however, be able to communicate with its handlers by whispering in their ear. This will be handled in a comedic way to give a much more friendly and almost pet-like feel to the 2-headed serpent. Also, the obvious which head is better dispute can take a large comedic device for both handlers on stage.
It's also good because the 2-headed, we can always like talk
Yeah.
to each other with the 2 heads,
Yeah,
and we can like both talk to the same like student
Yeah.
if there's that the young
It's-
child there.
it's a very versatile puppet we've designed here. It's definitely a large-scale fantasy puppet. The dragon will measure up to 5 meters long, so it's good and take up the theatre when laid out head to other head. The puppet's shape is long and tubular, so it's all soft tissue on the inside, with an exception to the face bones.
It's for mobility, isn't it?
Yeah,
All soft
definitely for
tissue.
mobility, so we can actually move around. We're not stuck to certain spacing. Also, soft tissue and big eyes to make it look friendly, because this is a kids' theatre puppet, so we don't want it to scare anybody. And that is about it. The puppet needs to be able to completely move its neck and mouth in a manner that is completely separate to the puppeteer's actions. So it looks like, instead of a man operating a puppet, it looks like a man with a dragon on his shoulder.
Yeah.
We want this puppet to look as realistic as possible, to really take people's breath
Yeah, and we
away.
don't have to be looking at the puppet when
Yeah.
it's talking or something
Yeah,
like that.
the puppet can do something completely different to what we're doing.
Yeah.
We just have to practice with hand motions now. And that concludes our puppet. Yeah, I'm going to turn it off.
Just trim this bit.
Will do.